Today's video, guys, is going to be why you should not be afraid to file for a US entry waiver. Media myths debunked. Ken Scott, Senior, US Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst with www.usentryWaiverServices.com. Let's get right into it. Today is June 6, 2025, here in the Surrey, BC office. Now, guys, today I spoke to a client, and he initially had said that he was apprehensive about filing for his waiver right now because President Trump is in office. So this video was basically made because of this prior phone call we had. It was about 20 minutes ago. He lives back east. He doesn't live here in BC. Guys, the mainstream media here in Canada, the leftist mainstream media really, really does a disservice to you guys in a lot of ways. They put out a lot of stuff and put a spin on it to make you guys afraid of everything. And you have really nothing to fear. And I think they did the same thing during COVID when I was in the United Kingdom. They did the same thing, back here. Don't be afraid to file for a US entry waiver. Don't believe the BS that the mainstream media keeps pushing, saying how bad the border is. The border is really not that bad. Yes, Donald Trump is president. That's a given. Yes, there's more media focus on the border. Yes. Yes, they are enforcing more rules at the border. Yes, that's true. But that's nothing. These rules have been in place since 1952 when the Immigration Nationality Act came into force. They're from 1952. I mean, come on, guys. And last time I checked, this was the year 2025. Now, my math may not be the greatest, but that's something like 70 plus years ago. These rules have been around forever, but admittedly, a lot of times in the past, they weren't enforced as much as they are now. When George Bush was president, George Bush Jr., they were also heavily enforced. So this is really nothing new. Got nothing to be afraid of. Now, one guy in one of the comments said in another video, he said that something to the effect that he heard about some 72-year-old woman and her husband got detained. That could very well be. But guys, if you think about this logically with common sense, even if the 72-year-old got detained, okay, great. That guy didn't know why she got detained. For all that guy knows, that 72-year-old woman could have a fraud conviction from what? She said, I'll say 1965. I don't know. She got a fraud conviction 1965, 1970. He doesn't know. And same with the husband. Maybe he's got a fraud conviction. Maybe they ran a drug trafficking ring back in the 70s. All like the free love and hippies, all of the smoking. He doesn't know. So you guys don't know. So if they detain you, they have to have a valid reason. If there's no valid reason, they're not going to detain you. Now, in terms of the 72-year-old, again, we don't know why she was detained, why they were detained. We don't know. But if you're the average Canadian, you've never done anything wrong, you got nothing to hide, and you don't give, this is what I'm really hard about you guys, and you guys don't give CBP a reason to detain you, you are not going to get detained. Now, if you guys yourself give CBP a reason to detain you, then that's your fault. And people say, well, how do I know a reason that they would detain me? Okay, well, if you pull up to the border and you got two joints behind your ear like this, and you're wearing a jacket that says 420 and you reek of weed, marijuana smell, what the fuck do you expect? And he's asking you if you ever smoke weed, and you say, oh, I don't know. Now he's got you for drug possession because you had this joint behind your ear. And some of you guys laugh. This is not that far from the truth. People have done this. You guys would be surprised what walks through that door here in the office. The stuff people have done and stuff that they admit to. So it's not that far-fetched, to be honest. Or if they look through your phone and they see that you're selling dime bags, whose fault is that? That's your fault for having that in your phone. They look through your phone and see you're meeting up with questionable people. Whose fault is that? That's your fault. You gave them a reason. And if you give them a reason, of course they're going to detain you. But it's been like that since 1952. I get so sick and tired of the media here and how they just brainwash you guys, and you guys just fall for it. That's what astounds me. There's nothing wrong with filing a waiver right now. File your waivers. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your U.S. travel. I know the dollar sucks because I was just down there myself this past weekend in Birch Bay. And I was just there one night and I saw what it cost me. I get that part. I think it cost me something like the room was like 224 Canadian, and I didn't really spend that much there. It ended up costing me like 450 for one day. Just basically eating out and hanging out, whatever. But maybe it was 400, but between 4 and 450, let's just say. But so what? I mean, you got to live your life to live. You got to enjoy yourself. Will I go down there every day? Not on this planet. Will I go every week? Not on this planet. But if you guys got a family, wife, kids, whatever, and the kids want to go to Disneyland, whatever. So yeah, it'll cost you some change right now. But beyond that, don't be afraid of going to that border. Don't let the fear perpetuated by the mainstream leftist media keep you guys away. They're not going to do anything to you unless you give them a reason. You give them a reason, then yeah, then it's your fault. You don't give them a reason, they're not going to detain you. There's a gentleman who was well known here back in the 90s and 2000s, and I won't say his name because he doesn't give me that permission, but was notorious. It's from the days of the Bindi Johor era, and he lives over here, and he goes back and forth all the time. He's got a waiver, no big thing. And another guy from that era, he just got a 5-year waiver yesterday. He told me it's a totally different guy. He's actually famous from that era, and he said I could put it on the website. So I'll put that. Well, it's actually already on the website now. But the bottom line is, don't worry about this stuff. They're not going to do anything to you unless you give them a reason. This BS about being shackled, that's other bullshit. Because the fact that not everyone gets shackled. I told you the story about the one client we got who did 3 months down there in detention. Something she did wrong. She wasn't shackled. And she had living conditions were that, horrendous. So bottom line, guys, stop being afraid of everything. Stop being afraid of your own shadows. Some of you guys are not. Some of you guys are. Don't be afraid of that border. They can't do anything to you unless you give them a reason. Unless there's something valid. Now, if you got like a fraud conviction, whatever, let's just say 15 years ago, you've been crossing back and forth, and you got a Canadian pardon, thinking you got it hidden, which is really not hidden. But now they finally discover it. That's your fault because you're trying to pull a fast one over on them. That's not their fault. That's your fault because your stuff's not straight. So as long as none of that stuff's an issue, you got the right ties to Canada, you're working, you have a home, you can show you have income. It's harder for them to turn you around or really mess with you. It's Common Sense 101. Ken Scott, Senior, U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst for US Entry Waiver Services.com. And that's 888-908-3841 or 604-562-8140. All right, guys, again, stop being afraid. Live your life. You can still file for your waiver now. TBP is going to adjudicate it. For the most part, these things have been coming back approved for us. But we are noticing the people that have like certain crimes, like the involving like children, those are the ones that seem to be the hang up right now. Or the sex crimes, but one and the same. And I'm out. Have a great day.